game first yesterday, and also they'll win every tiebreaker as well.
Right, which is sort of like having a game-and-a-half lead automatically, which they were given, not given, I don't think given's the right word, but they were awarded that. Yeah, they earned that for their play in July and August, and they deserve that advantage, I think, going into this playoff push. But they're going to have to play well. They have a nice-looking pitching staff, especially the way that their bullpen lines up at times. And I think they still maybe are even considered the favorite headed into this thing.
A tough loss for A.J. Coleman and the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers just a couple nights ago. Coleman, you can see him going through those progressions, going through the adjustments that the pitching coordinators here at the USPBL have given to him. And, you know, he has one bad inning and one that really wasn't his fault the way it started and ended, it felt like.
Yeah, you know, I was really happy with his outing. He had that inning where they scored the 2 runs, but there was an error in there. There was a ball that deflected off of his own mitt that ended up costing him. He didn't get hit around, he didn't walk guys, which is really the key. And he was getting on top of the baseball better, commanding his fastball down in the zone, getting on top of his breaking ball and throwing that for strikes. And he's the type of pitcher that when he does that, he's going to keep you in the ball game, which he did. His team just didn't score for him.
And outdueled a little bit by Jamon Taylor, a guy who's really figured it out.
Yeah, and you know, he didn't hardly strike anybody out, but he was another guy that was throwing all of his pitches over the plate, getting guys off balance, you know, inducing some pretty weak contact most of the time. And he looks like someone who's really going to grab hold of one of these starting spots in the rotation and take it through September, I think.
Take a peek at your starting lineups for tonight's game, brought to you by AAA of Michigan. First, for the visiting Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers here tonight, it's T.J. Riles at the top of the order once again for Vaughn Joshua's squad. Batting second is the second baseman Freddie Cheely, Joey Weimer, Cameron Comer, Sam Troyer, the dangerous meat of the order for this Beavers squad going forward in the conceivable future. Ron Williams Jr. hitting sixth, a guy who's picked it up lately. Like to see that. Cesar Cuevas again hitting seventh, Jalen Smith and Romero Harris rounding it out here tonight against Ryan Andrazik. More about him and Garrett Chrisman, your pitcher comparison here today a little bit later in our pregame show. On the other side, for the home Westside Woolly Mammoths here tonight, their lineup is also brought to you by AAA of Michigan. Is Alec Olin getting another leadoff spot here tonight. His second time in a few games. He had that at the beginning of the year, but has hit further down in the lineup ever since for the teams he has played for. Will Johnson batting second, Lamar Briggs, Landon Barnes, Ross Haffey hitting in the meat of the order as well. Garrett Kieber batting sixth here tonight. The usual leadoff hitter for Paul Nickenbrugge's squad, it's Isaiah Cullum, Andrew McCoy, and Keandre Jones rounding it out, your designated hitter, as they will face Garrett Chrisman in the end as well. One note, we'll kind of talk about it a little bit more as this game progresses, but Will Johnson, you know, one of the clogs, you talk to the Mammoths and they all kind of say that to this lineup, to this defense, just as a leader as well. Energy guy. He's been dealing with a little bit of a sore wrist throughout the last few weeks, so if he heals up, which it sounds like he's doing better, that could be huge.
Makes sense now that we hear that. You know, we didn't know about that until today, but his swings haven't been quite the same lately, so that makes some sense. But you're right, if he can play through it and then get over it, that's going to make a big difference for that lineup.
A little bit later in our pregame show, we'll have Dan's keys to the game. We'll also look at our pitcher comparison next. Don't go anywhere. This is the USPBL Network.
Order Jimmy John's and we'll bring it to your car door. Leave it at your front door or have it ready for you at our drive-thru. Just use jimmyjohns.com or our app to tell us what sandwiches, drinks, chips, and cookies you're hungry for. When you want it and how you want it. We're ready.
Crack open a Budweiser and experience the refreshing taste of summer. Make every moment of summer count by picking up Budweiser today.
United Shore Professional Baseball League action here tonight, presented by Motor City Casino and proudly sponsored by the following: AAA, Ascension, BELFOR Property Restoration, the Detroit Medical Center, DTE Energy, Dunham Sports, Dunkin' Donuts, Green for Life Environmental, Green Path Financial Wellness, Jimmy John's, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, Summit Oral, and United Shore. We thank all those fine partners for their sponsorship of tonight's game and this fine season wrapping up at Jimmy John's Field. Time to take a peek at your pitcher comparison. Brought to you by Denzo, as always, here tonight. One of the best starters in the U.S. PBL this year. Garrett Chrisman goes against a rising Ryan Andrasic here today, Dan.
That's for sure. Some similarities with these guys, too. They mostly try to keep people off balance and throw strikes. Chrisman has been as good as anybody in this league. Sometimes he gets overlooked a little bit because of Ty Hensley or guys who have really electric type stuff like Don Goodson, but he's as good as anybody, and it's really tough. It's really tough to go against him anytime that he's out there. Guy with a high 80s fastball, not overwhelming, a really nice changeup, but he throws everything for strikes.
Time for Dan Griesbaum Jr.'s keys to the game. What do you have today?
Well, besides Chrisman, because you've got to get runs off him somehow, and those runs come at a premium. But besides that, I want to take a look at how this Westside Woolly Mammoths bullpen plays out going forward. Not just today, but really during the whole playoff push here. They look like a team that could potentially have one of the best bullpens in this league, between a guy like Strobel, who's electric against lefties, a guy like Travado, who's really nasty against righties, and then a couple of closer types with John Murphy and Dazon Cole. If they can get decent starts with that bullpen, I think they can win a lot of games here in September.
It's going to be fun to watch this push to the playoffs, the first game in that regard for the Mammoths. Kickoff here tonight in just a few minutes on the US PBL Network. Stick with us.
We really were fortunate to get out when we did. Losing our family photos, our wedding pictures, can't replace it.
Can you imagine losing everything you've got? You realize that it's the little things in life that matter. Things that they thought were damaged and thrown away, all of a sudden they magically reappear. And you see the human spirit come back.
It's our pictures.
To be able to put you safely back in your home matters to us. People matter. People count. At BELFOR, we're restoring more than property.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
This is a university unlike any other university. You will find out a lot about yourself and your career that you're going into. It's prepping me for the real world experiences that I will encounter once I do graduate.
With its many leadership programs and classes that integrate service learning into its curriculum, acts as not only a resume builder, but a character builder. And I couldn't put a price tag on it. And it will be invaluable to my career.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
The 5'10" right-handed pitcher out of Canton, Ohio, takes the hill. Ryan Andrasic here today for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Deep arsenal.
I don't want to overlook him with the fact that he's going up against Chrisman. He was really good the last time out, back on August 27th against the Beavers. Got the win, was the player of the game that day. 5 really solid innings with 3 Ks. Really good command, a really nice mix with all of his pitches, and really kept guys off balance.
Mind you can comment on Facebook And YouTube with us all night long. Maybe you have questions about the new postseason structure. This is virtually the postseason now. I mean, the way it's, kind of diced out, pushed to the playoffs is what we're calling it, but the regular season looked at in the first 2 months of the season, the September push.
Well, every time you get a win, you get that much closer to not having to play an elimination game at the end, and that's really what you're trying to avoid. You want to be able to line up your pitching staff for just one game on Championship Sunday, and that basically makes you the favorite going into the championship.
And it's not uncommon in the sport of baseball to play 3 nights in a row, but here in the USPBL, it just doesn't happen just because of, all the same teams playing in one ballpark. So it's certainly an adjustment from that standpoint, and you have to have 3 solid pitchers. And you always think about that. Maybe you want to throw your number 2 or number 3 in the first game because you feel like you can beat a team. You just can't do that in the playoffs.
No, definitely not. I think if you're in that first game on the Friday of championship weekend, you're going to have to roll out your best guy, and then if you get by that, you're going to have to piece it together from there. That's what you want to avoid. You want to be a top seed.
TJ Riles, Freddie Geely, Joey Weimer, your Zach Hart agency. 3 men due up here in the first inning. We'll see if Riles continues to lead off for this Beavers squad. 5 walks to 12 strikeouts with a 175 average. I think they like maybe Freddie Geely a little bit more down in the 2-hole.
That makes sense, but your leadoff hitter's got to get on base or else he's not going to stay there very long. I don't know that there's any other great candidates for it in this lineup besides Freddie Geely. I think if I had my druthers and it was my club, I would probably put him in that spot and then fill it in from there, maybe move everybody else up a spot. Joey Weimer, Cam Comer, Troyer. Maybe Ron Williams could find his way to the top if he keeps swinging well, because he has been swinging pretty well lately.
Just high, 2-2 on TJ Riles. Absolutely stunning day in Utica, Michigan. 72 degrees at game time. Partly cloudy, but hardly any clouds over the stadium here tonight. Some billowy ones down the right field line, but other than that, perfect day and night for some baseball. You might need to bring the jacket going forward, though.
That's for sure.
For the 7 p.m. start.
Starting to feel like fall, slowly but surely.
Take a peek at the defense behind Ryan Andrzejczyk here tonight. Alec Oland starts in left field. Johnson in center. McCoy out in right. It's Briggs at third, Kieber at short. Barnes at second base, Haffey at first, and Isaiah Cullum behind the dish here tonight. That look brought to you by AAA of Michigan. Geely looks at one outside. 74-degree high today. Projected 75 on Saturday, 75 on Sunday. Tick higher on Monday for the holiday. 78 degrees, no rain in sight until you get to Tuesday. And that's because we don't play that day.
Right, of course.
81 and sunny on Wednesday, 75 on Thursday, and 70 predicted a week from today is TJ Riles swipes his 7th steal of the year. I'm sure they would love him to get on more because...
Yeah, he could do that more. He got just a decent jump, an okay jump, but he picked a good ball to go on, went on a breaking ball. That's really what allowed him to make it.
High and away at 86. It's a 2-seam, a 4-seam, a slider, a changeup, and a curve for Ryan Andrzejczyk.
The key to last time out was all the strikes, and he's already off to a bad start today with regard to that.
And generally, he wants to live a little bit lower than he has to begin this game, as that one is up high for a 4-pitch walk. So first and second with Joey Weimer coming to the plate, and a frustrated Andrzejczyk as Cullum comes out.
It's not how you want to start this thing. You've got some power bats coming up in this Beavers lineup. You want to try to keep those table setters off the base. You've got Joey Weimer, Cameron Comer, Sam Troyer coming up, and that's the beef of the order here.
Scott Capers caught Ryan Andrazik last game. He thought he had a really good rapport with him. You'll see Cullum catch a few more as this season goes on. They think this bat is going to perk up as well, just from the outings he's been giving in BP and even the results last game, 2 singles.
I like the horizontal break action on his slider. You saw it again there. That's the first one that he's thrown for a strike, I believe, and it's so important that he does that.
Gets 15% swings and misses on that slide piece. 1-1 on Joey Weimer. Changeup by him.
Hitters will start to respect his fastball, which, you know, is very modest velocity-wise if he can get that slider over consistently.
Waiting in the 1-2. Outside, curveball, or maybe the slider there. Didn't have much action on it. Curveball and the slider are pretty similar in terms of velocity.
Yeah, really the only difference there, I think, is the horizontal break compared to the vertical break more so.
That nearly busted inside and hit Joey Weimer. That would load the bases. They don't want to do that with...
Yeah, there's our friend.
There he is. How about it?
That fellow was on our booth, what, last week, was it?
Yeah, right here in front of my eyes on the window. It's 3 straight walks to begin this game for Andrazik. Is that the same spot you saw him pregame?
It is. I think he wasn't overly happy with his view from our booth last time, I guess. He decided to go to the front row.
There's always the chance of getting squashed with the ball, I guess. It's got to be very marginal.
We're pretty safe right here.
Cam Comer will now see his eyes light up here in the first inning as he comes with the bases loaded and no outs. Comer has had a little bit of an up and down finish so far at the plate, but definitely figured things out a little bit more as the season has gone on. Fouled it off there. One for 3 last game. After a couple games of going 0 for 5 before that. In the month that was, going back to August 13th until now, he's hitting .312, 282, or 321 I should say, in that stretch. 282 currently overall so far this season. Here's the 1-2 delivery now. In there for strike 3. Tough pitch for Cameron Comer.
There's not much you can do with that pitch. You just hope the umpire doesn't call it a strike. But it's a swing back fastball on the inside part, and if it caught any plate, it was very little.
Take a second look at the defense behind Andrazik here tonight. Well, Johnson moving to center field here. Talked to Paul Nickenbrugge about Lamar Briggs before today's game, and he revealed something I didn't necessarily know. He said Briggs is pretty much an outfielder most of the time, so he's been asked to kind of be a team player in his words, and he's responded.
You wouldn't know it by the way he plays third base. He's pretty good over there.
Shatters the bat and somehow still gets a fair ball down the third base line. Riles is around to score. Geely is there as well. Wow, you don't see that very often.
No, not at all. Have to get another look at that. I don't know if he got that on the end of the bat maybe, and you know, maybe that's why the bat reacted that way, but he got enough of it, I guess. Looked like he did maybe get it on the end.
It didn't look like a horrible swing.
No. A pretty good bat path, stays in the hitting zone, and you get good results.
Ron Williams Jr., the batter here with runners on second and third and just 1 out. Williams already the 6th batter here in the first inning. Cesar Cuevas stands on deck. He's your Zach Hart agency man on deck here, and just doesn't have command of that fastball here tonight.
He's a pitcher who's going to rely on his command. I don't know if this is just getting on the same page about the signs here or what, but this is already the 3rd trip to the mound. You know it's not a good inning when you've got 3 trips to the mound and 1 out.
Change up the key to his success in the last outing. He's become more comfortable throwing that to right-handers. It was always a comfortable pitch for him to left-handers, but has figured out the movement on it a little bit more.
The danger of throwing it to a righty is, oh, here comes the manager again. Is that it? They might just be talking potential injury or something, which hopefully he's not injured, but that might be what the discussion is about.
Looks like that's it.
Yeah, he is coming out. Is that right?
It is. Jared Wright, one of the starters in this league, will come in with not a fresh count. It's a 2-0 count on Ron Williams Jr. 2 runs already in. Three walks to lead off this game. Will signal a pitching change. Just 5 complete batters through.
Well, you've got a guy like Wright who's certainly capable of giving you 3 or 4 innings, so you know they've got that going for him in this situation. They're just trying to stop the bleeding.
Andrzejczyk departs, giving up 2 runs and recording 1 out on the strikeout to Comer. More when we get back.
You've been charged with a crime in Macomb County. You need an attorney who will protect your liberty and stand between you and the whole force of the government. You need Vince Manzella and the team at Lucido and Manzella on your side. Vince grew up in Macomb County. Vince knows the people in Macomb County. Vince understands the Macomb County court system, and he aggressively fights for Macomb County residents every day. Lucido and Manzella, 586-228-3900.
And on your right is the Statue of
Hoffman Dental pitching change already here in the first inning. It's Jared Wright taking over. Wright, his 9th appearance, 6 starts. I mean, it won't count as 1, but they're looking to get that length. I can almost guarantee it of him here in this situation. Has thrown 33 innings, 10 walks to 27 strikeouts. Not a opportunity to remember his last appearance, but looking for him to bounce back, Dan.
Well, you said it. They're looking for him to give him a few innings here at least, and this game is by no means lost. We're only 2 runs in, and if he can find a way to wiggle out of this inning after 2 or maybe even 1 more run comes across, they certainly have a chance to win this ball game still.
Guessing, and we don't exactly know. You know, we probably won't know until after the game, but this looks more like a tactical move than an injury move, doesn't it?
Looks like it so far, although don't know how loose Jared Wright is. We certainly didn't notice him getting loose, and sometimes when a pitcher comes in without really being warmed up, it could be because of a unexpected injury to the starter, but we'll find out after the game.
And here it's a 2-0 count. Not often you see that. On the ground to second base, Weimer going to scratch his way home. They trade the run for the out. Sam Troyer also moving up to third base.
Ron Williams doing his job there, just looking for a ball that he can drive somewhere through the middle. The infield was back. They're just looking for an out. So a lot of times as a hitter, you'll just take that opportunity to move the ball somewhere and get another run across.
Cesar Cuevas will come up here in the first inning with a runner on third. 3 runs already in. That one in for strike 1. Wright's best start this year. He's through 7 innings, allowed 4 hits and no runs. Walked just 1 and struck out 8 versus the Unicorns back in the 4th of August.
Thought the last time we saw him coming out of the bullpen, he had a little bit of a rough first inning out there, but then he settled in pretty well. Had a very hittable fastball that first inning he was out there. A lot of balls down the middle, just catching too much plate.
He did not make a start last week. He talked to Paul Nickenbriga before the game here today, and still unclear necessarily who's going to be your 3 or 2 starters.
I like that pitch you just threw there. That big curveball can be very effective.
Spin of 23-74 punches them out of this inning. Good job by Jared Wright. 2 up, 2 down. Take a look at Garrett Crispin when we get back.
As we continue to respond to COVID-19 in our communities, Ascension Michigan is with you in this, and we are doing what matters to keep you safe in our care. At our hospitals and sites of care across the state, Ascension Michigan has additional safeguards in place. We are limiting visitors, ensuring proper social distancing in our waiting rooms, offering more online visits, and performing rigorous procedures to clean and disinfect. Our care teams are delivering babies and performing surgery. Now more than ever, it's important not to delay your health care. Schedule your appointments. Make sure children are getting their vaccinations. And if you have an emergency, don't wait. Go straight to your closest Ascension ER. Thank you for continuing to protect yourself and our community by washing your hands, wearing a face covering, and social distancing. Our doctors, nurses, and staff are ready for you when you need us. This is what we do best.
It's the Lincoln Summer Invitation Sales Event going on now at Crest Lincoln. Schedule your remote experience today or visit us here and learn what it means to have vehicle ownership on your terms.
Find some peace this summer in the luxury of the 2020 Lincoln Nautilus. Lease today for only $359 per month. Or drive in comfort and style in the 2020 Lincoln Continental. Lease today for only $361 per month.
Make a summer memory today. Visit us at Crest Lincoln in Sterling Heights or shop now at crestlincoln.com.
Garrett Crispin on the mound for the Beavers here tonight, taking his 1.90 ERA into play, 52 innings, and a dazzling walk to strikeout ratio of 11-64.
And the best socks in the league.
Yes.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on him this inning. That was a longer top half than I'm sure he was expecting. See if he got a little bit rusty sitting there in the dugout.
7 batters and maybe a little bit of a longer warm-up than normal for Jared Wright as he came in for Ryan Andrazik in the middle of the first. Great job by Wright to get a ground on it. Did score a run, but then struck out Caesar to end the inning. Strike 1 on Alec Oland. Second time lately leading off. First since August 23rd. He was 1 for 4 there with a single.
Here's that change piece.
Way out in front. 79 miles an hour.
That's what your old friend Jim Price would call a trick pitch. A trick changeup.
Here's the cheese. It's outside. 1-2 on Alec Olin. 12 walks to 20 Ks. He scored 15 runs this year. This is a guy who hit .330 at Purdue his senior season. Two fought it off inside. That's a tough pitch to get to.
That was just a good spoil.
Manager just wants to remind him what got him here. There's some athleticism, some speed. Just wants him to block everything else out and go out there and play. It's his second year in the USPBL. Last year, 218 average, 6 stolen bases. Walks up a little bit more, 20 to 36 strikeouts. But I think ideally, especially if he's going to be hitting at the top of the order, you add 5 or 6 more walks to that total from last year and subtract 6, and you're a little bit more where they would like him to be.
Only had 5 extra base hits all of last season and 179 at-bats. He should have more gap-to-gap power than that, especially with his speed.
Showed a good amount of doubles power in college, especially that senior season.
He's having a nice at-bat here. This is the kind of lead-off at-bat you want to have. Seeing all the pitches, full count, spoiling the couple good ones.
Spotted up the middle. Good play. Maybe. No, it's under the glove.
It's a great at-bat by Olin.
The more pitches you see, the better chance you have, right?
Absolutely. Especially as the leadoff guy, now your teammates get to see everything too.
And even if it's not a positive result, quote unquote, in terms of a hit, a walk, a hit by pitch, whatever it may be, getting on base, an elongated at bat still sets up your teammates better overall.
Yes, absolutely. Driving up pitch count.
It's 10 pitches deep already for Garrett Crispin, a guy who doesn't throw a lot of pitches really ever. You look up and down his repertoire. I mean, this is a guy who threw 7 innings, struck out 11 batters in just 84 pitches. Back on July 25th. Has not thrown above 103, and he's had 4 starts of 7 innings. Will Johnson. 1-1 count. We talked about his potential wrist soreness, wrist injury, whatever you want to talk about it. I don't think much more than soreness. Talked to him about that before the game here today, and he said sometimes, you know, when you're not playing every day per se, like the USPBL, you know, shift towards in terms of how their schedule lays out, it's tough to diagnose an injury or realize maybe that you have one in a nagging fashion like that.
Really can affect your swing too. I had a nagging issue with a wrist at one point. It's not the type of thing that's going to keep you out of the game, but it just affects your swing and your bat speed just enough to make a difference. And you feel like you're not the man you used to be up there.
He says he is feeling better. Good tag by Freddie Geely to snipe Alec Olin at second base.
And that's not the guy you want to test in this league, Cam Comer. He makes a lot of good throws. He's got a plus arm behind the plate, strength-wise and accuracy.
He's developing into quite the prospect lately, isn't he?
He sure is. He's starting to look like the prospect we expected him to be. Off to a little bit of a slow start with the bat this year, but has been much better since.
3-2, crowded him inside, but a good job there by Will Johnson. The pitch count already at 15 for Garrett Crispin here in the first inning.
That's why you hate to see the Mammoths run into an out there. They're doing a really good job with their at-bats. They're driving up the pitch count, and you end up giving an out right back.
Outside.
Especially hurts now.
Yeah, it could have been first and second with no outs. Instead, first base with 1 out here. Let's take a peek at the defense behind Garrett Crispin, brought to you by AAA of Michigan again here tonight. Riles, Weimer, and Harris in the outfield. It's Troyer and Williams on the corners. Geely and Cuevas. Up the middle with Comer behind the plate again here today, already showing why he's one of the best catchers in this league. Throws out his 4th base runner this year. You look at his past balls, he has 12, but a lot of those were very early in the year. I think there was a game where he had 3 or 4 And that can happen when you don't really know a pitching staff, as all these catchers have kind of been thrown in that situation here at the beginning. Ouch. Off the foot of Lamar Briggs.
Yeah, not only did the season start without much practice time or any real ramp up to the season, you had some guys who were learning how to catch, and then you also had pitching staffs that were very fluid. The taxi squad was very big at the beginning of the year, so pitchers were going from team to team, and catchers were seeing different guys every day.
Briggs trying to shake that one off, hitting .310 coming into play here today. Been a weapon at third base, at the plate, and on the base pass as well. 6 steals to go with his 6 runs scored so far this year. Best fastball of the night, velocity-wise, at 90, in for strike 2. Garrett Chrisman a double play away from getting out of this frame facing the minimum. Trying to change that with a swipe is Will Johnson. He has it.
His didn't get his landing gear down quick enough there. Ended up sliding over the bag. But and then he almost left the base. He didn't know what happened there. But he picked a better ball to go on. He went on the changeup down in the zone, and Comer couldn't really get a hold of it. Looks like they're not going to shy away from running the bases.
It's the aggressive nature that their manager likes. 2-2 on the ground. Pass a diving glove of the shortstop. Johnson being waved around here. Riles uncorks a throw. It's up the line. And advancing his way to second base is Lamar Briggs.
It's so important to hit that cutoff man. Ended up not only not getting the guy at home, but because you missed the cutoff man, the hitter ended up at second base.
How about Landon Barnes working his way up the order to the cleanup spot here tonight?
Yeah, he's a guy they have a lot of confidence in. Hasn't necessarily shown up on the stat sheet all the time, but he has been swinging it better the last couple of weeks.
Has been hitting in the lower third for quite some time. So this is not the start we exactly expected.
No, certainly not. Anytime you score off Garrett Chrisman, you don't expect it. Especially early.
So Barnes at 232 in the average column. As Dan said, that doesn't really tell the story. He's 5 for his last 14. Has driven in 4 in that stretch and walked three times compared to 1 strikeout. 0-1 outside at 76 there with the slider. 4-seam, 2-seam changeup and a slider for Garrett Chrisman. Gets a lot of strikes on the slider. 16% swings and misses. That one whittled foul. All the numbers scream at you as a really good pitcher. He's got 16% swings and misses in total. And then called strikes plus swings and misses 32%, which 35% and above here in the USPBL in the major leagues is considered excellent. So he's right outside of that threshold. Throws 68% strikes. Geely for the second out. It advances Lamar Briggs to third base here.
How about that changeup he throws? He gets 28.7% swing and miss on the changeup, which is really unusual.
And fastball counts a lot as well. Not much else that Landon Barnes could have done with that pitch. As we get a second look at it on our YouTube monitor, way low. Just able to get a piece of it, and Haffey trying to drive it a run. Snares a line drive right to the glove of Romero Harris. So off the bat at 98 for Ross Haffey. So they do strike back for a run. It's a 3-1 game now as we prepare for Freaky Fast trivia presented today by Jimmy John's. What do we have?
I got to get back to the good side here.
What is the rarest M&M color?
Geez.
I've heard this question before. Brown, red, blue, or green? I don't remember the answer, though.
I don't feel like I see many browns. Plus, brown is the color of chocolate. I don't think they'd run with that as often, so I'm going to go with A, brown.
You got it.
All right.
There you go.
I'm old enough to remember when they had a nationwide vote to add an M&M color. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, it was a nationwide vote. The blue is the newest of those M&M colors because that's what we voted on. We voted for that blue.
Did you vote for blue?
Absolutely. I don't remember what the other choices were. I'm sure I'll look that up sometime. But it was oddly exciting. I don't know why.
Modine Gunch on Facebook says, will you break down the playoff schedule? How many games? What the points mean? Thanks. So the points, we'll start with that. You get 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, no points for a loss. Everyone started this week with 8 remaining games between this week and next week. So they had to adjust the schedule slightly to reflect that. Now, technically, when you look at the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers and the Eastside Diamond Hoppers, they have 3 more games than everybody when you combine together what happens with the doubleheaders. The 5-inning doubleheaders will not count towards the standings. More on that in a second. When you get to tiebreakers and why the Unicorns have a 3-point lead, they gained basically a 1-game win by winning the regular season, so that's why they have 3 points even with the loss yesterday in their first game of this new push to the playoff format. The Unicorns will win any tiebreaker that they have going forward. So tied with the Mammoths, tied with the Beavers, tied with the Hoppers. It all means the Unicorns take the better seed. Now if the Beavers and the Hoppers tie, whoever wins 2 out of 3 of those 5-inning, quote, development games will earn the tiebreaker. If the Mammoths tie, either the Beavers or the Hoppers, that means that they will go back to runs scored throughout the season. So I know it's confusing. If you have any other clarification questions, we can certainly answer those as Jalen Smith strikes out to begin the second. It's the 3rd Beaver that has gone down swinging. And how about Jared Wright, a guy who really didn't probably expect to pitch at all, maybe an inning or 2 in relief, but he comes in the first inning for Ryan Andrazik and retires every batter he's seen so far.
Maybe this will be good for him. Just get out there and get to work.
In that first inning, 3 walks in a row. TJ Riles, Freddie Geely, Joey Weimer, some good ABs by those guys. 3-2 to Riles. It was a 4-pitch walk to Geely and a 3-2 count as well to Joey Weimer. So the bases were loaded with no outs and the strikeout by Cameron Comer. The double by Sam Troyer drove in a couple where he shattered his bat. He's got it off the end of the bat near the cup. The 4-3 ground out by Ron Williams Jr. scored the 3rd run in Joey Weimer, and then the strikeout to Cuevas ended the frame for Jared Wright in the end. Romero Harris, the bottom of Von Joshua's order here tonight, steps up. TJ Riles, your Stackart agency man on deck here in the second. Here's the 3-1. Popped him up on the off speed. That will find its way out of play. It's a fastball, a slider, a changeup, and a curveball for Jared Wright. Alan Oakes, pitching coordinator here at the USPBL.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just haven't seen that in a while. The hitter stepped out of the box due to the PA noise bothering him, yeah.
Maybe he doesn't like the movie Jaws. On the ground third base side, Briggs can't handle it. One of the few times that Lamar can't pick it. So you'd think a leadoff error to begin the second inning. But Allen asks, if the Mammoths finished 4th, who would your starters be if they were to make it to the championship game?
Interesting. So they finished 4th. That means you have to take care of Friday first. So you can't fool around. Whoever you think your #1 starter is, that's who you throw on Friday. I think just given the veteran presence and the consistency, I'd probably go with Ben McKendall first. Just he's probably the most consistent guy and someone you can count on to give you a lot of innings. So I'd probably run him out there first, and then, if you get by, it all depends on who you have to use to get by that first game. And I believe we're going 9-inning games in the playoffs, so you have to keep that in mind too. So, depending on who you had to use to get by that first game, probably go with Jared Wright second on Saturday.
This one sneaks inside to TJ Riles, 1-1.
Then, of course, you get to a championship game on Sunday. It's all hands on deck. And really, a team like the Mammoths could put together a pen day and have a shot at it.
They could.
And they've got good arms in the bullpen.
You've seen Tasker Strobel start a game. The left-hander. We've also seen John Murphy act as an opener type earlier this year as well.
I mean, you could have somebody like Travato out there for several innings, and he's going to give you a good chance. Nobody really squares the ball up against him very easily.
Here's the 2-1. On the ground, first base side, through Haffey. On his way to third base, Romero Harris, and TJ Riles up there, and that one escapes, and Romero Harris able to score.
We've seen some common things going back between each of these teams. A couple of bad throws to the plate that we've already seen. Just in this inning here, a couple of balls that probably could have been handled by the infielders. They weren't easy plays by any means, but they could have been handled, and they didn't come up with it. Just not real sharp defensively today, really, on either side yet.
4-1 lead for the Beavers. That's a welcome sight after losing their first game in this push to the playoffs. A tight 2-0 loss to the Diamond Hoppers, who are on top with 6 playoff points thus far. Oh, and 1 on Geely now. Get a walk and a run scored back in the first inning. Here's the 0-2. On the ground to Barnes. Over to first for the second out. It does advance TJ Riles to third. Joey Weimer also with a walk and a run scored back in the first. It's a messy line score to begin the game here today. And actually, did they not rule that an error to Lamar Briggs?
They did not, or to Heffy, it looks like.
Here's the 0-1 to Weimer. Curveball outside, 1-1. Jared Wright, when he has struggled so far this year, has been up in the zone more often than not. Some of the better hitters of this league. Sky-high pop-up, Haffey, backing. Got it for out number 3 here in the second inning. Could have been worse. 1 out single by Romero Harris. He came around to score. Then the double by TJ Riles has made it a 4-1 game. Now time for your DTE Energy Kid Race. The mascot here tonight, it's Wooly.
Oh boy, I'm going against Wooly. I don't care who he's going against.
Dan's a Wooly hater lately.
I am not a hater, just a hater in this race. He can't run. I think Chelsea could crawl faster than Wooly.
Wow. Willie going to get a head start here? I think Dan would like him to be to third base before they.
I wouldn't mind it. He's holding on to his pants. Look at him. This young woman is going to get to home before Willie gets to third.
Didn't miss second base, but
she's slowed down now. She's being nice. She's slowed down.
Looking for the lane to pass, finds it there.
Not too worried about the bags, it looks like.
Your DTE Energy Kid Race, the mascot, goes to the kid again here today. More after this on the USBBL Network.
DTE Energy customers can get their share of huge lifetime energy cost savings. How? By using our website. The Oslin's new programmable thermostat saved them a bundle. And their new, efficient furnace earned them a hefty rebate. All over Michigan, people like the Oslins are saving. Why not you? There are always new ways to save at dteenergy.com/saveenergy. DTE Energy.
Garrett Chrisman back out there for his second inning of work. Been a lot of traffic on the base pass against both of these pitchers so far here tonight. In the first for Chrisman, he gave up the leadoff single to Alec Olin, then the walk to Will Johnson. Olin was cut down at second in the middle of the Johnson AB trying to steal, so that put a runner on first with one out. Lamar Briggs able to drive in Johnson in the end as he stole himself a base. 4-3 ground out by Barnes and a line out by Haffey. Ended it with just 5 batters in the end as Garrett Keeber, Isaiah Cullum, and Andrew McCoy, your Zach Hart agency 3 men due up here in the second inning.
Well, we haven't seen Keeber down at this spot in the order very often.
Mostly let off this year, hitting .250, 10 runs scored, 9 walks to 19 strikeouts. It's obviously something with Keeber as well that they would like to trend a little bit more towards the walk side. Slider outside, 2-1. Keeper hitless in his last 3 in that stretch. 1 walk to 4 strikeouts. So maybe that triggers Polnick and Brugge to give him a day off from the leadoff spot. Let him figure a few things out. High in the 89-mile-per-hour fastball as Comer held it there. Third 3-ball count already against Garrett Chrisman. You just don't see that very often from him. That's on the outside corner for strike 3.
Keeber was not happy with that call.
First strikeout of the game for Garrett Chrisman. We mentioned his walk to strikeout streak that he's really had all season long. 11 walks to 65 Ks. Actually 12 walks now after the one in the first that came around to score, but he's been really, really good in that capacity this year. Isaiah Cullum looks at one outside.
Starting to see the catcher out of Florida Southern a little more than we did earlier in the year.
I told you earlier that they think that his bat's going to perk up.
He was 2 for 3 the last time we saw him.
His manager even went as much to say he's the sleeper hitter of this season. I think is going to perform down the stretch just like the way he's hitting line drives and BP. It's starting to translate to the game. He had a 2 for 3 outing the last time around for the Mammoths. 6 walks to 8 strikeouts, so his on-base percentage has been pretty high all year long. Took a strong hack and a 2-1 pitch there. I mean, he's only had 20 or so ABs this year, so would make sense if he starts getting a little bit more playing time that his bat starts to perk up. Freddie Geely all smiles as he records out number 2.
I don't know why I just thought of this now, but JJ must have a really strong jaw, the way that he grabs the bat right around the lower part of the handle, you know, and drags it all that way. You would think that just from a leverage standpoint, that's really not the ideal place to pick up a bat.
You ever tried that or no?
Not with my mouth. I know that when you hold it at the bottom like that, even as a hitter, when you hold it, the closer you hold it to the knob, the slower you swing the bat. So,
saying that JJ is stronger than you?
I think in his mouth, his teeth, it looks like it. Absolutely. His jaw.
So that's his defense there. I've never seen that before. Look at that.
They look like they're engaging in battle there. Especially since Abby, who looks after him, has to wear a mask, of course. So it looks like a combat zone there. Maybe like paintball. Reminds me a little paintball.
Defending Lancelot's castle.
Right.
Here's the 1-2 with 2 outs. Nice pitch. Did he go? Nada.
McCoy did a nice job holding off that one. That was a very tempting pitch.
McCoy has shown a little bit more patience as the year has gone on. He's drawn 8 walks, I beg your pardon, to 14 Ks.
I think if anything, he takes a few too many strikes at times.
Fills the count at 3-2 now. Chrisman looking to get out of this inning 1-2-3 after the lengthy first to his standards. Bingo. 88-mile-per-hour fastball, second strikeout of the inning. And down goes Andrew McCoy here in the second. It remains a 4-1 game here on the USPBL Network.
The difference that we bring to pediatric care isn't just the fact that we care deeply about our patients and want to partner with their parents in delivering the best care for their children, because a lot of pediatricians can deliver great care. What we do differently at Campground Pediatrics is we offer a different environment to deliver that care, and we offer personal service in a way that many practices can't.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
Heart of the order up against Jared Wright. Here in the third inning, saw a little bit more damage done to him in the second and in the first. He struck out the first man he saw in Jalen Smith, and then the single by Romero Harris, the double by Riles drove him in. On a ground out and a pop out. Got him out of the frame facing 5 batters.
He didn't get knocked around, really. You know, the one from Harris, the base hit, could have certainly been ruled an error, and the Riles ball, not an error, but it was just a ground ball that was a little bit out of the reach of Heffy, so it's not like he was getting pounded, but he's here to eat some innings at this point and try to keep his team in the game.
Comer dances out of the way of that one. He's 0 for 1 today with a strikeout back in the first inning. Keeber. 1 up and 1 down. Jared Wright has kind of had the unfortunate reality of facing a lot of teams in a row. 3 starts versus the Diamond Hoppers in a row from the 16th of July to the 29th of July. 4 appearances in a row versus the Utica Unicorns between the 4th of August and the 30th of August, and this is his first appearance against the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers.
You know, I would think that would be an advantage to the hitters, but I heard a different take on that just today from Denny McLean on his podcast, the former Star Tigers pitcher of the late 60s. He felt that the more he faced a team, the better he got against that team. Yep.
Interesting.
Just how to approach the hitters and things like that.
Maybe it's just the high mound, which we also have here in the USPB.
We have that here. Oh, we're following our friend there. He's down in the...
Look at that.
Look at that. He made his way. So he wants to get closer, basically, is the idea. Now he's in the on-deck circle.
Is that the same one? Or
I don't know.
I feel like the one in front of me was green the other day.
Yeah, maybe it's a different. Maybe it's a member of the same family. Who knows? They keep getting closer. Pretty soon it's going to be on the mound.
You don't want to be married to a praying mantis because they often eat their mate, I think.
Is that how it goes?
Yeah. 2-2 pitches, swing and a miss there for the second out here in the third. Actually, looking back, maybe it is the same one. I don't know. Looking back at my picture, Dan replied to my tweet the other day with his better shot, I think, than what I had. I had a steamy window. That's not fair.
Right.
You win picture of the year of the praying mantis.
Well, I had sun. That was a pregame photo as opposed to a seventh inning photo.
This one inside to Ron Williams Jr. Got an RBI on the ground out back in the first inning. Swing and a miss. I remember growing up, you can from garden stores or from other places like that, you can buy praying mantis eggs, and there's
really
tons of them in there. You can put them in your garden, and they're supposed to eat up some of the bugs.
Is that right?
On the ground to the first base side, Haffey able to complete a 1-2-3 frame here in the third for Jared Wright. Chelsea Estes has the details on JJ the Water Boy, presented by Michigan First Credit Union. Chelsea, take it away down in the field.
Oh no, JJ. JJ was taking a break. All right, everyone, it's time for JJ the Field General, brought to you by Michigan First Credit Union. It's when JJ brings a basket of water and a nice cold tower to the umpire, but it's getting a little chilly out here today, so maybe JJ may have to switch up that water for a nice hot chocolate or something. All right, but fans, you know what? Guess what? You could get a little JJ the Field General of your very own right at the merchandise store. So what you get to do is you can go to uspbl.com, go look for the shop tab, and you can go home with your very own JJ the Field General plush toy. I got mine the other day, so you should get yours too. It's getting a little chilly, so there's plenty of sweatshirts, hats, and even get a stylish new gator to add to your wardrobe. So make sure you go check that out. So once again, JJ the Field General, get one of your very own. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Chelsea. I made an appearance down to the store here today.
It was about time. I'm always the one talking about merch. You take your purchases very seriously.
You bought one at a time. I balled out and bought four here.
Okay, all right.
Got some gifts.
You're more of a shopping spree kind of a guy?
Yeah, maybe. I was checking it out throughout the last couple weeks.
So what'd you get?
So we have a Unicorns kid T-shirt for my niece.
Oh, very nice.
We're celebrating her birthday tomorrow.
I hope she's not watching.
Hopefully not. Hernandez is 2 now. A Beavers children's tee for my nephew Victor.
Okay.
And a matching Unicorns, or close to matching, I guess, Unicorns T-shirt for my wife because her and Isabel are best friends.
Okay.
And then a Mammoths T-shirt that you like, you raved about. I got one for myself.
Excellent. To make sure we don't wear them on the same day, or else.
Right. No. Yeah. That's Eric and I.
You guys do match. Yeah, you guys do tend to match. Well, that's because they give you guys the official league gear, whereas they think they just let me go on my own with my apparel. The baseball analysts can just dress how they want, I think.
Keandre Jones with the leadoff walk here in the third inning, turning it back to Alec Oland. Ooh, trying to bunt, taken back. And I think you'll see that a little bit more, maybe more from the players. Not sure that they're ever going to signal a bunt via the signs here in this league, but if the player feels like they can drop one down and they have enough speed.
And I think that was he's going now.
Not a great jump, but he's able to slide into second base with a TCF Bank stolen base here in the third.
I don't know that the steal was on there either. I didn't. I happened to be watching the third base coach, Scott Pickens, there, and I didn't see him put any signs on. He may have just gone on his own.
So a runner in scoring position again. We've seen that quite a bit here tonight, and it's not something we really expected against either of these two arms. We've already seen a pitching change by the Mammoths here tonight, right, with a nice 1-2-3 frame the last time out. 76-mile-per-hour slider remains high. This 1.90 ERA affected a little bit by the run back in the first inning. Another shattered bat. That's going to loop where nobody was into right field.
And another very poor throw home. That's the third one that we've seen today.
And this is a decent group of outfielders.
Yeah,
I mean, you look,
it is a very unusual thing. And they've all been the same. They've all been up the baseline, significantly up the baseline.
You look at it for the Mammoths, it's Olden in left, Johnson in center, McCoy in right. And here for the Beavers, it's Riles in left, Weimer in center, and Harris in right. All outfielders who have had a pretty good defensive year, but now it puts runners on first and third with no outs, and a guy who's feeling better with that wrist at the plate, and Will Johnson. 1 for 2, couple runs scored, a double, 2 walks in his last game. Had a walk in his first at-bat in the first, came around to score. That was on a 3-1 pitch, driven around by Lamar Briggs in the end. Righty on righty, the 1-0. In there for strike one.
Beavers with the 3-run lead will play back in the middle here. Hope to turn 2.
Will Johnson, one of the best in the leagues in terms of making contact. When he swings, he makes 88% contact and just swings and misses 4.6%. I mean, those were the same even throughout his struggles. His batting average on balls in play have been low, which generally indicates for a good hitter like this that he's going to turn it around. Even for a average hitter, you start hitting balls in play, you're going to
you just try to stay the course, and you know, if he wasn't 100% healthy before, certainly getting healthy will always help.
1 and 2 on the Mammoth center fielder here. Briggs and Landon Barnes, your next two up. Look at your Zach Hart agency men on deck here in the third. Now the 1-2. Slider outside, didn't break a whole lot though. Slider maybe hasn't been as sharp as we've seen it for Garrett Crispin here tonight. Here's the even pitch now. On the black for strike 3. First out of the inning. I feel like Will Johnson, among any batters this year, have gotten tough calls.
That was a tough call, yeah. On the black, of course, being just a saying, but I don't think that ball was on the black. I think that was off the plate. I think he's got a legitimate beef there. But when you hit your spot, when you're a pitcher with good command that hits his spot, a lot of times the umpire is going to give that to you.
First pitch to Briggs, swing and a miss.
Hit his spot there again.
A changeup, some tumbling motion ties him up inside. Into the meat of the lineup here, it's Briggs, Barnes, and Haffey. 3-4-5 for Paul Nickenbrugge here tonight. 0-1. Another good pitch outside with the slider that time. Always like to talk about guys who have converted from a position player, and this is not a full convert in that he did play some third and pitch in college. Here's a fly ball to left field, looking up, and that's off the left field wall there for T.J. Riles. One run around to score, the second sliding into third, and in there is Alec Olin.
That ball had a chance. That was left up in the zone a little bit. Lamar actually got on top of it pretty well. It was more of a line than it was on a fly, and that got out there in a hurry. And that's a big knock. Now they're a base hit from tying this ball game.
Well, this is why we like this team. They're starting to hit better. And maybe previously, you know, in a season, even when they were losing just 2-0, they just couldn't get the bats going. They rack up so many strikeouts. Just couldn't get base runners on, playing a little bit more station-to-station baseball, but also playing an aggressive brand of baseball in terms of the base running that they have put together, really. Even in this game, you see the one error, I guess, back in the first where Olin was thrown out, but he's able to get to third base here.
You take a look at a Mammoths lineup from July, it looks a lot different, and some of the guys in the meat of that order are no longer in the league, and I think they've definitely upgraded.
0-1 on Landon Barnes. One out here in the third inning, a run already in. One in the first, one here in the third, two more waiting on the pond here. So their opening day game, July 3rd, a 1-0 loss. There's an indication right there. Versus the Utica Unicorns. Ty Hensley started. That was the
no-hitter, I believe.
Combined no-hitter, yes. Hensley, Goodson, Comitas, Clenny.
And that aged well, didn't it? That lineup of pitchers. That's a pretty nasty group.
On the ground, back to Chrisman, going to stare Olin back to third base, and that's the second out.
Nice job there by Chrisman to have the presence of mind to look him back to third first. A lot of guys won't think to do that. They'll just be in a hurry to throw the ball to first base. If you're really thinking, sometimes you pump fake to first and then look the guy back just to see if you might catch him.
So, Dan, I wasn't here, but this lineup is completely different. You see a lot of these guys on the Beavers. Freddie Geely led off on July 3rd, followed by Sam Troyer, who's hitting cleanup here tonight for Von Joshua. Anthony Maselli batted third and played short. He's on the Hoppers.
Well,
Riley Mahalik batted cleanup and played left. Ron Williams Jr. also on the Beavers here tonight. Played first base. Josh Goulet, Josh Wright followed. Isaiah Cullum, Austin Shoemaker, and that was your opening day lineup for Paul Nickenbrugge.
Well, we really had a very tight group of guys that first weekend. There was definitely not 4 teams worth of players here yet. It was very thrown together, and that's that leads to why we're starting this playoff push, largely over again, because it really wasn't fair to bury the Mammoths when they really had a lot of players that are no longer here, and it's just a different situation now.
0-2 on Ross Haffey here with 2 outs, a strikeout and a ground ball have given Garrett Chrisman that venture here with runners on second and third. The 0-2, good block.
Yeah, Comer got the glove down there very well to cover the 5-hole, or else that was going to the backstop.
Is that one of the more troubling things to do for a catcher early on in their career?
A young one. As you get older, the glove is really the first thing that gets down. It's really what leads everything else. There's a tendency for young catchers to want to come up with that. Well, actually, he caught that ball there. That's what a lot of times you have to try to keep yourself from trying to do that, because more often than not, you're not going to pick it clean usually.
88-mile-per-hour fastball in the dirt there by Garrett Chrisman.
Of course, if you could pick it clean like that all the time, that would be the best way to go, but it just doesn't happen very often.
Got to have good hands for that. Haffey hit a rocket to right field his first time up at 98 miles an hour. He's set down here with the wiffle ball changeup to the inner third of the plate. Second strikeout of the inning for Garrett Chrisman. He has 4 overall here on the USPBL Network.
Hi, I am Allison with the Sports Performance Tip of the Game, brought to you by DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. You don't need an expensive gym membership or equipment to stay fit. During the coronavirus, we have all found creative ways to stay in shape. There are many things you can find or even use around your home. For example, you can fill up a backpack with books. and wear it on your back for resisted squats. You want to stand with your feet shoulder width apart, just wider than shoulder width apart. Sit back with your hips, keep the chest high, and repeat this for 2 sets of 10. An exercise like this one that uses your own body weight is one of the simplest ways you can work out at home.
Want to hit your home cleanup project out of the park? Well, making sure that your driveway is safe from damage? Rent a rubber-wheeled trailer from GFL and keep all of your bases covered. Our trailers come in 20 and 30-yard sizes for all your cleanup needs. Call GFL today to order your driveway-safe rubber-wheeled trailer. Team GFL, helping you win your cleanup project.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Senior Spotlight, brought to you by Michigan School and Government Credit Union. Tonight, I'm going to recognize Simon Momeyer, who attended Sterling Heights High School. Simon loved playing varsity and rec baseball. He also enjoys being an usher here at Jimmy John's Field, so he is a familiar face around the ballpark here. Once again, congratulations, Simon, and to all those seniors out there who are about to start their new journey at college. Congratulations, Simon. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Chelsea. Jared Wright pitching his third complete inning. Got 2 outs back in the first as he took over for the starter Ryan Andrazik, who walked the first 3 batters he saw, and then the strikeout to Comer and the double to Sam Troyer was the ultimate hook for Paul Nickenberger here tonight. 7-8-9 due up.
He's doing a pretty decent job keeping his team in the ballgame.
0-1 on Caesar to begin this at-bat. Curveball outside. Hasn't really been able to get the curveball over so far here. Fastball and a good rip. Piped foul. 192 in the average column for Caesar through 29 at-bats. He's had 1 home run, 2 RBIs driven in. 3 walks, 8 Ks. Waiting on the 1-2, high, 89 miles an hour there. Wright is retired 5 straight, going back to the end of the second inning for outs 2 and 3, make it 6. Fifth strikeout in total, 4th for Wright, and Andrazik had 1, as we told you about back in the first inning. There's the Manis. Where is he now? Where is that comparatively?
That's tough to. I'm having trouble placing that. Oh, just got walked across. So
popped him up down the first base line, Haffey, and called off by Barnes for out number 2.
A little bit of an adventure over there.
Who is that in the major leagues that had a rally mantis for a while?
I don't recall the rally mantis.
Looks like Kansas City.
Okay. Well, they share some colors with the Willie Mammoths, so we'll see if that plays out.
Well, it looks like it's back in 2016.
The Mammoth Mantis. That's
the Mammoth Mantis.
That's a mouthful.
Romero Harris had a single back in the second inning, ball that Lamar Briggs couldn't handle. Another broken bat.
Yep.
Goodness. Third of the day, Lamar Briggs handles that one with ease this time around. And that's back-to-back 1-2-3 breezes here for Jared Wright in the 3rd and 4th innings.
Giving you so much more. Hollywood Supermarkets, your neighborhood grocery store. Hollywood Supermarkets, giving you so much more. Hollywood Supermarkets, your neighborhood grocery store.
You're going through a divorce in Macomb County. You need an attorney who will fight to get you what you're entitled to, preserve your parental rights, and protect your finances. You need Vince Manzella and the team at Lucido and Manzella on your side. Vince grew up in Macomb County. Vince knows the people in Macomb County. Vince understands the Macomb County court system, and he aggressively fights for Macomb County residents every day. Lucido and Manzella, 586-228-3900.
It's time for me to recognize a family of the game, this time brought to you by Huntington Bank. And my lucky family is the Fagan and Page family from Valparaiso. Once again, the family of the game, the Fagan and Page family. Congratulations, you guys. Hope you're watching the game and enjoying it at home in your nice, comfy couches. We're getting a little chilly over here. Dan and Jeremy, back to you guys.
It's a good-looking family right there, huddled around the Christmas tree.
Definitely. It's hard to believe we're somewhat approaching that holiday season, right? I mean, Halloween's kind of right up ahead.
Who knows what it will be like? And
yeah, it'll be maybe a strange Halloween. Trick-or-treating, you got to believe, is probably going to be altered at best.
Garrett Kieber, Isaiah Cullum, Andrew McCoy, your Zach Hart agency three-man duo up here in the fourth inning against Garrett Chrisman. Saw some action in the third. Saw runners on second and third with one out, but a good job by Garrett to get a soft ground ball right back to him. Deposit it over to Ron Williams Jr. for out two, and then the strikeout to Ross Haffey after a pretty decent AB by Ross in the end. Here's the 0-2. Down in the dirt, looking to see if he would chase, and Kieber subtly checked his swing there.
No, I think it's safe to say that Chrisman hasn't been as sharp as normal today, but it's possible he'll be good enough to get a win. And there's been so many times that he's pitched in a dominant fashion and lost that there's another nice pitch. Those things tend to even out sometimes. It's 2 Ks looking today for Kieber.
5 Ks in total for Garrett Chrisman. The one thing that has not aligned with his previous starts is that he has 70 pitches.
Right.
Already with just 3 1/3 retired. It's not going above 103 so far this year, and that wasn't even his best start in terms of, I guess, the most strikeouts.
Right.
We've had some pretty good pitchers duels this year. Went up against Ty Hensley a couple times.
Well, just the fact that he's gone 7 innings 4 times, that's really impressive in a developmental league like this where you're not going to push guys too hard too fast.
89 with the fastball up high. Cullum popped up his first time to the second baseman, Freddie Geely.
Are you a fan of the movie Bull Durham?
Yeah.
It always makes me laugh that the young kid was making his pro debut on the mound and he struck out 19 and walked 19. Can you imagine how many pitches that is for a pro debut? They would never allow such a thing. They wouldn't even let you walk 5 now, probably.
How many batters is that? Just in not 19 plus 19. I can do that.
Right, but assuming that he had some non, they don't really even say if he threw a complete game or not, but you got to assume he had some other outs in there somewhere. That's a lot of pitches.
Andrew McCoy has one of those strikeouts back in the second.
McCoy, for me, is a guy who really has a lot of promise. We haven't maybe quite seen all of it yet, but the fact that he runs really well. He's kind of skinny, but he's really got a hose for an arm. You just wonder if maybe he could fill out a little bit, add a few pounds, get a little bit stronger, what we might be able to see out of him.
Chiseled on the ground. Caesar turns to second in time. Geely can't quite whip it over to first. Eats it for out number 2 is McCoy. The speedy McCoy is on with a fielder's choice. Jeremy Otto alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. to bring the call here tonight. Chelsea Estes, the third member of our team. There he goes again. Good boy, yeah.
That strong jaw, JJ.
He greeted me at the gate here today.
Did he?
Not really.
He must have thought you were a fan.
He was there. He didn't greet me. This one outside to Keandre Jones, hitting 9th again here today.
JJ's a little bit aloof at the ballpark here sometimes. In the office, sometimes he drives you crazy. He wants to socialize so much.
Swing and a miss, maybe a hit and run here as Keeper tries to swipe second, and he does. Or McCoy, I beg your pardon. 7th steal of the year for Andrew. Keandre Jones worked just his 2nd walk of the year in the 3rd inning, and he came around to score in the end. And I guess I wasn't paying attention enough, or I just marked it wrong. It was actually a hit by pitch.
Yeah, I tried to crowd him with the fastball on that at bat. It actually looked like I might have hit his hand and the bat when it got him. Kind of down by the knob.
They've got a few more of the rally sounds going here tonight.
They do, yeah.
I like it.
They got to watch when they play him, though. They made Romero Harris step out of the batter's box.
1-0 on Jones. 2 outs here in the 4th inning. Crispin trying to squash this potential rally right here. Slider remains up. 2-1 on Jones. Average exit velocity of 89 miles an hour off this powerful right-handed bat. He has hit a home run this year, driven in 4.
He's got some bat speed. He can generate real power. I mean, he's built like a football player. He's a physical specimen up there.
Like to see him at wide receiver.
Oh yeah. You wouldn't like to see it if you were the defensive back.
No. Here's the 3-1. Swing and a miss. Big swing by Keandre Jones there. Field account, runner on second base with 2 outs. Crispin readying his 83rd pitch. Have to wait a few extra seconds as Jones calls time. That was his 5th run of the year, scored in the 3rd. Also, when he has been on base, it's been a struggle at times, hitting just 191, but he's stolen 4 bags as well. And there is his 2nd walk of the season, I promise.
Same thing. Walk, hit by pitch. Comer's working pretty hard back there today.
He is. That's something in a playoff stretch that can go unnoticed overall, but blocks like that save runs.
Yeah. No free bases. Free bases are huge.
Alec Olin 2 for 2 today, a pair of singles. Thrown at second base looking for his 3rd steal of the year. Was stranded at 3rd in the 3rd inning. Garrett Crispin has faced 5 or more 3 out of his 4 innings so far here tonight. Olin has also battled a few times, a 2-1 count and a 3-2 count. Here's the 1-0. Fastball pours in at 88. Remind you can chime in with us on YouTube and Facebook all night long. Glad you're with us for this push to the playoffs, the first of the final 8 games for this Westside Woolly Mammoth squad. 7 more remaining, including this one here tonight for the Beavers. No action in either pen. Jack Ferguson, for the first time in a while, is available here tonight for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, so keep that in mind. Popped him up down the first base line and is going to scoot out of the reach of Ron Williams Jr.
I really thought at one time Jack Ferguson was going to be the closer for that team.
He virtually was for the first 2 weeks of the season. It's a guy like him, though, in a playoff series or even today when the Mammoths are looking pretty comfortable at the plate, that can dice him up a little bit. Travado the same way on the other side for the Mammoths. Another good block by Comer as he keeps it out in front. Quite a few 3-ball counts tonight for Garrett Chrisman, alone here in the 4th. This is his 3rd. Unofficially his 7th overall, according to my scorebook. Here's the 3-2 with the runners moving. No harm in that with 2 outs. Floating. Ron Williams Jr. sliding into foul territory.
That was a beauty.
A run saver, maybe 2. Who knows? Really nice day in the field for Ron Williams Jr., capped off by that slide. Back with more after this.
We joined Green Path and instantly felt a support around us.
They developed a plan on paper, and this is how we're going to do it.
The plan that they gave me was something that was sustainable. It was something I could do. It was actually lowering my payments monthly by hundreds of dollars.
Choosing Green Path is a no-brainer.
We're for people, the pioneers, the underdogs, the players, and the slow and steadies. We're for people, for who they are and who they could become. Yes, we're a bank, and some say our business is all about money, but that's an old idea. Because look past the money, and you'll see real human lives. We see it, because we're for people. Huntington, welcome.
With us, you can expect something more. More guidance,
Do you trust me, Mom?
more dedication, more commitment. So you can celebrate today and be prepared for tomorrow. Insurance through AAA. Expect something more.
Jared Wright back out there. He's been a calming force, hasn't he, Dan?
He has. He's come in and done a pretty good job. I mean, he went out there really without being warm, was not expecting to be in that role, and he's settled this game down, kept his team in it. I mean, they've been a base hit away from tying the game at one point, so can't count these guys out yet.
Are you going to start the fire here in the booth? It's one of those nights I think that you could
by moving around too much? Is that what you're asking?
I'm just joking. I mean, just get us warm. It's a little chilly air.
It is a little chilly. I jump around a lot in the booth, so that's how I stay warm.
TJ Riles, Freddie Geely, Joey Weimer.
I'm up and down all day.
This one outside to Riles. Maybe we can pull in one of those fire tables from the Cabana Suites.
Yeah, those are nice. Those are nice. Fire pits. I guess we don't really have any experience yet with what happens when it's cold here. We didn't have any of those May games this year, so.
It's true. Yeah, it was steamy, I feel like, for the first 3 weeks of the season. It felt like 90 and above every game, hot and humid. Haffey. Gonna get right involved for out number 1. And that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 batters retired in a row for Jared Wright, stretching back to the 2nd inning. Did allow a run in the 2nd. Would love if his offense could get him a few more runs.
When you look down the road at the Mammoth schedule, at some point they're going to have to decide who's going to start a game, because I'm sure Jared Wright was probably penciled in for a certain game down the road that maybe he won't be starting anymore because of the innings he's going in this game. Maybe they'll go back to Andrzejczyk.
It's not exactly mapped out how it was. Even, up to last week, we kind of got the rosters and the starting pitchers. One reason we got the rosters is because the taxi squad was still around, and obviously that's not necessary anymore, but it is giving up a little bit more to these managers, so it's not going to be as structured necessarily. And you don't necessarily, you know, there's no 5-man rotation, quote-unquote, here in the USPBL just because of the amount of games you play, but there's been a little bit discrepancy lately of, you know, this guy moving around, either going a little bit earlier maybe than he had in the last outing or vice versa.
I think ideally they try to target a 3-man rotation. That usually works. I don't think it's necessarily mapped out exactly what the Mammoths 3-man rotation would be. Besides, you know, McKendall, I think, would be a starter for sure.
In there for strike 3. 2 up and 2 down here in the 5th. That's 10 straight retired now from Jared Wright. Strikeout number 5, 6 in total against these Beavers offense. You look at the scoreboard and think, yeah, the Beavers are heading a better day offensively, but it's been just 1 inning. The Mammoths have looked pretty settled. They just haven't been able to move the base runners as much as they would have liked so far here tonight. First pitch to Weimer in for strike 1. Joey with a walk and a run scored back in the first inning. Him, Freddie Geely, and TJ Riles, the top 3 in the order, all walked and all scored very efficiently.
Hasn't had the same curveball command that he normally does today. That's probably the one downside to this relief appearance for Wright.
Maybe that makes a difference in the second inning.
Sure.
But overall, hasn't played in all that much.
Right. He has a pretty good arsenal otherwise, but I think that's a really good pitch for him just as a change of pace. It's a huge differential speed-wise from most of what he throws.
1 and 2 on Weimer, the center fielder here tonight for Von Joshua's squad. He's tinkered with center field and the corner outfield position so far this year. 91 mile per hour fastball, one of the best we've seen tonight from Wright, remains high. He's topped out at 92 on the fastball velocity this year. Pretty good swing, but right there is Alec Oland. And the third 1-2-3 inning in a row for Jared Wright. There's no stopping him.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
When you need emergency care, you want your hospital to be ready for whatever comes through the door. Ready for any injury and any illness. Ready to respond at the speed of emergencies. That's why McLaren MACOMB built a new emergency department. With advanced technology, clinical expertise, and 68 private exam rooms, we're Macomb County's largest emergency department, and we're ready for you whenever you need us. That's emergency care at McLaren MACOMB. That's doing what's best.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for me to recognize a kid of the game brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Today I'm going to recognize Gavin Byrne, who goes to Beck Elementary School, who is 12 years old, and his favorite activity is, of course, baseball. If you guys are looking at this picture on the screen, look at that form. I mean, we may be seeing him here at Jimmy Jones Field one of these days. Congratulations, Gavin, for being kid of the game. Jeremy and Dan, back to you guys.
Maybe we'll see Gavin in the USPBL someday. Garrett Chrisman back out for his 5th inning of work. He'll face Will Johnson, Lamar Briggs, and Landon Barnes. This might be it, as his pitch count is to 89. There is some stretching in the Beavers bullpen. There is no action in the Mammoths pen, and Dan, just 56 pitches for Jared Wright as he gets through the 5th. He's pitched 4 2/3 so far here tonight.
That's pretty efficient. You know, it wasn't without adventure. You know, there's a little bit of a blip there, maybe in the second inning, but pretty good job considering the circumstance.
Nice job, all things considered, as well, coming in with a 2-0 count and a runner in scoring position to still get a ground out. Obviously, it did score, but whenever you inherit a count, that's just not something you really do.
Right.
Johnson today, a tough strikeout back in the third inning, a ball he thought was out. Did have a walk in the first. His eye has not been affected by the wrist, as it really wouldn't be, you wouldn't think. 7 walks to 10 strikeouts so far.
The only way it could maybe be affected is if you felt like you had to start your swing sooner because your wrist wasn't 100%. And if you do that, the sooner you start your swing, the more likely you are to swing at a bad pitch.
1-2 on Will Johnson. High. So it was that period just right after the All-Star game for Will Johnson that he began experiencing that wrist soreness. You got to go back to August 14th when that was. And since he is now 1 for his last 20 after that strikeout there.
It's unlike him to swing through a 87-mile-an-hour fastball like that. You can tell he's not quite right.
Struck out 7 times as well in that stretch. Has drawn 4 walks. Make it 5 actually in his last 4 games now. Here's a strong line drive to center, but right there is Joey Wiemer. Off the bat at 90, Wiemer says, "You're out."
That ball was scalded pretty good. And Briggs having another nice day at the plate, really.
Landon Barnes 0 for 2 so far tonight. A couple ground balls, 1 right back to Garrett to go a long way in him stranding runners on second and third with 1 out in the second. Checked his swing and a 77-mile-per-hour slider taken outside. Solid liner up the box for Landon Barnes. Continues his pretty good stretch over the last 6 or 7 games.
This is a big at-bat here coming up now. 2 outs, got a home run guy at the plate representing the tying run pretty late in the game here. He did have a nice swing his first time up. He drove a ball pretty hard to right field. And he can go that way. He can go that way with a lot of authority.
4 home runs this year, 10 last year. I'd love to see him turn around a few more as these playoffs unfold. Paul Nickenbrugger loves his leadership, loves his power, obviously. And just sneaking foul.
That was close.
Oh, and 2 here on Ross Halfy. So Garrett Crispin 1 pitch away from getting out of the 6th inning here. The pitch. Lined it the other way. Nice approach by Ross. Barnes trying to go first to third. The hose by Harris. Cut off.
And that was a much better throw by Harris. He threw it through the cutoff man. It allowed Cuevas to cut it off and keep the man at first base. Halfy continues to swing a pretty good bat. You know, he'll strike out occasionally here and there, but by and large, his at-bats are still very good.
Didn't even really get the full swing on that one. He's got enough of it to line it into right field. Still got 84 miles an hour off the bat. Garrett Kieber, the big AB here, trying to snap an 0 for 2. He struck out looking twice and at bats in the second and fourth.
And he's going to do it again if he keeps getting off-speed pitches like that. Yeah, that ball looks like it's at your neck, and then all of a sudden it's over the plate.
First pitch changeup. We've seen a couple good ones by Chrisman here tonight.
Jeez. It's not fair.
Nothing in two. Keeber flustered. Jared Price warming. Can he deliver the hat trick here?
I'd try to make him chase. He did try, but he didn't go. When a guy struck out looking twice like that, you should try to make him chase in that situation because it's going to be in the back of his mind that he wants to get the bat off his shoulder.
Mammoths looking for their first run since the third. The 1-2 swing and a miss at a pitch in the dirt, and Chrisman able to get his second strikeout of the inning here in the fifth.
2 strikeouts in the inning, no run scored.
More after this on the USPBL Network.
When you are in need of air conditioning services, turn to the experienced professionals at McQuaid Heating and Cooling, Plumbing and Refrigeration. Since 1970, we've been delivering high-quality air conditioning installation and repair services. Call for a free estimate today. Let us help you be cool and comfortable. For comprehensive HVAC services, contact McQuaid Heating and Cooling, Plumbing and Refrigeration today.
A great day for me is when the family heads to the local farm stand in our Chevy Traverse. We can enjoy a comfortable, scenic trip in its spacious interior and stay connected with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi. Add in the available hands-free liftgate and class-leading cargo space, and Traverse fits my life and everything that comes with it.
Lease a 2020 Traverse LT for just $279 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
USPBL standings presented by Scott's. New point system, 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie. The Hoppers have 2 wins and 6 games left. They can't get any better thus far. The Unicorns lost last night, but they do have the 3-point advantage over the Beavers and the Mammoths because they're the winners of the regular season with that best record of 17-11 coming into this point.
Well, the Beavers really need this win. They don't want to still be at that 0-point mark with only 6 games remaining.
See the outing by Randy Dobnak earlier for the Minnesota Twins?
Sure did. Very efficient outing.
5 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Out battles Matt Boyd, who had 6 innings of work, gave up just 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, but the more important part, no walks to 8 strikeouts.
They feel very comfortable putting Randy out there. He's not going to strike everybody out, but he's going to give you a good outing, give you a chance to win. I thought as I said, on the broadcast the last time, I thought the Tigers took a pretty good approach against him, and they just happened to get some ground balls through the last time, and that's going to happen. But he didn't have a bad outing in the game that he lost to them, in my opinion. But today it was a typical efficiency from him.
That was the first of a doubleheader. The Twins swept that against the Tigers. 3-2 victory in Game 2 in a bullpen game really for both teams. As Jared Wright back out there for his 6th inning of work. Are they playing all those MLB doubleheaders as straight doubleheaders? I know it was again here today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no reason not to because there's no gate, there's no tickets, so you may as well just get them in.
Straight doubleheaders pretty much went away.
They did. I think they're going to make their way back, though. I think the pandemic is bringing back the straight doubleheader. I think for good.
That's a long day if you're at the ballpark and you get a 1 and a 7. Generally is when they do the split.
I think the 7s could be here to stay as it comes to doubleheaders. I wouldn't be surprised. So? Yeah, I think even when fans are back in the ballpark, I think it would be kind of neat to occasionally have a Saturday straight doubleheader, 7 and 7. I don't think you need 81 home gates anymore. I really don't.
Are you talking a scheduled 7?
Yes, scheduled. Yep.
That's another story. Look at there.
Well,
coming out with the prediction here.
Yeah.
There might be something behind that.
I don't think we're going to have 81 home dates anymore. I really don't. That's really the crux of my prediction, is that I don't think we're going to have 81 gates anymore in Major League Baseball. I think they're learning this year that they can try some other things and be just fine.
Fastball outside to Sam Troyer. Double back in the first inning. He absolutely shattered his bat as he hit it off the cupped part of it. Not a bad swing overall, but he's got the extension and flipped it down the third base line. The more impressive part, I think, was that it was a fair ball down the third base line.
It was very unusual.
Ron Williams Jr. to follow. He's your Zach Hart agency man on deck here in the sixth. Big swing and a miss. Change of speeds with the slider that time.
Pretty ugly swing overall there. He really pulled his head off that ball. Which will happen when you're out front. You get fooled.
Troyer with RBIs 3 and 4 on the season here tonight. Lost that one to Barnes. Had some trouble with it and trouble on the exchange by Keeper there.
Get another look at that. I think that might have been, looked like Barnes wasn't in too much of a hurry to catch that ball in the air. I think he was hoping to get an easy hop in turn 2. We'll get another look here on the YouTube monitor. To me, it looked like he was trying to set up a double play. He didn't exactly succeed though, because he didn't pick it clean, but that, I think the idea in his mind was to try to turn 2 there.
Does get one. And that leadoff walk here in the 6th inning snapped quite the impressive streak overall for Jared Wright after he took over for Ryan Andrazik. Had retired 11 batters in a row since giving up a double and a run in the 2nd inning. Feels like he almost deserves the win here tonight if the Mammoths
if they come back, yeah.
It's one thing for a starter to come out of the bullpen. It's another thing for a starter to come out of the bullpen with not much warm-up at all.
And in the 1st inning.
Such a mindset for a lot of these guys starting.
Yep.
It's a couple-day process for some.
There are certain pitchers that just can't come out of the bullpen. You know, they just require a certain routine, and it just takes them too long to get ready.
John Murphy tuning up now. Nearly a running lead, but bluffing is Troyer in the end. Feeds the second over to first. Got him.
Nice play.
Nice way to start it by Ross Haffey. Garrett Keeper able to finish it off. And Jared Wright faces the minimum somehow here in the 6th after giving up the leadoff walk.
Looking for a great rate on a new vehicle? Introducing our credit union's Drive promotion with rates as low as 1.89% and no payments for 90 days. Or refinance and save on your current auto loan with our 1% lower guarantee. You can now get pre-approved and close a loan remotely with our convenient online application process. Stop in today or visit ourcuonline.org/drive to drive away happy.
Upcoming games brought to you by Motor City Casino Hotel. Tomorrow it's the double dip, 5:30 start, 5:20 on air here on the USPBL network as the Beavers and the Hoppers duel it out for another double header.
So we got 3 Beavers Hoppers games in 3 days then.
We do.
All right.
They have a busy week. They'll also play on Monday if you count that kind of on the same stretch.
And 4 Beavers games in 4 days.
Garrett Chrisman out there for his 6th inning of work. This will be the most pitches he's thrown. He's already past that. It was 103 entering tonight. You see 104 on the screen. Have they sat down, Jared Price? Looks like he's still warming down there.
Well, he would love to get through this inning and then hand it to his closer.
Faces the bottom of the order here, so maybe that has something to do with it as well.
Could have a short leash also.
0-1 on Cullum. On the ground to Caesar. Charges in the grass. Double pumps, but throws it over to first for out number 1.
There's a nice easy out.
Andrew McCoy had a strikeout back in the 2nd inning and a fielder's choice in the 4th. Beat out that fielder's choice with his legs. It was a potential double play ball. Keandre Jones has reached twice. He's your Zach Hart agency man on deck. Lollipop slider, looking more like a curveball there, comes in for strike 1. Outside. McCoy, one of 7 strikeout victims here tonight. 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 2nd. His strikeout breakdown tonight. Here's the 2-1. Just missed that one. 4-seam fastball at 86. Waiting on the even delivery here. Crispin rocks back. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 8. Locked in and looking to finish off this 6th inning 1-2-3. It would be his 2nd 1-2-3 inning today. More laboring innings than we've really seen in a while from Garrett Chrisman this year.
Looks like he's going to finish strong, though.
Popped him up. Ron Williams Jr. made a really nice play earlier.
It's really unique how confident he is in that changeup. He can throw it early in the count. He throws it as his out pitch. He keeps it down in the zone very regularly. And it's got movement. Gets a lot of swing and miss on it.
Tying him up inside. 0-2 on Keandre Jones now. It's the only Mammoth not to be retired at least once here tonight. Crispin with the 0-2 high. 115 pitches deep in this outing here tonight.
Oh, I don't know where that missed exactly, but I think Keandre says, "Thank you, Mr. Umpire. Give me another chance."
Last 4 outings for Crispin. 1 earned run, 0 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 1 earned run. 2-2. Popped a foul. Before that, a couple zeros. 2 4-run outings so far this year. But other than that, it's been a pretty shut down season once again for this right-hander. Waiting in the 2-2, just outside. In danger of walking Keandre Jones for the second time tonight. And he's a guy who just really doesn't walk. 2 walks on the season, 1 here in the 4th inning tonight.
I think I'll throw the change again. Even 3-2.
Why not?
Throw your best pitch. It's the last one of the night, probably.
High.
Fastball up. That could be it. We'll see.
3rd walk of the evening. And for a guy who has, or had, just 11 coming into today, that's a rarity as well. Von Joshua with the slow walk out to the mound. It likely means that we'll have a Hoffman Dental pitching change here in the 6th inning. Garrett Chrisman battled all tonight, didn't have his best stuff, but that's what aces like these guys do. They'll give you their best outing regardless of what they have that particular night. Jared Price trotting his way in.
He worked through it, and he managed to finish pretty strong.
So Price will face the top of the order here in Alec Oland. We'll check Jared Price's numbers when we get back here on the USPBL Network.
They called it the 1,000-year flood. They were having homes and businesses flooded, and the roads were being washed out.
My entire house is going to be flooded. Okay, do you have a second story?
A lot of fear that we were going to lose a lot of people. When we heard the police station was flooded, we immediately gave them our command center to operate out of.
BELFOR was our savior. Sheldon and his team restored 25 of our businesses and more than 1,500 residences.
At BELFOR, we're restoring more than property.
Detroit Mercy itself definitely values who you are as a person to really give me guidance on what it was to be a college student. The ability to connect with many people from different backgrounds. Not only did I take what I learned in the academic world, but I was able to apply that in a professional setting. And the university definitely provided those resources. And I was able to graduate and be the first one of my family to graduate from college.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
Check your checking. If your account doesn't get you pumped, amped, or geeked, make the switch to Genius Checking from Genesis Credit Union. It's just genius.
Jared Price looking to hold on to a 4-2 victory here tonight in the 6th inning for his Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. It's a big one for both of these two teams, looking for their first points in the push to the playoff standings.
Last time he came in relief versus the Mammoths, he had a little bit of a tough first inning. Fastball was a little bit all over the place. Took him a little while to settle in, but his second inning out, he was much sharper.
Could be Wilking for the 4-out save ultimately here. He has 3 saves on the year. 3.22 ERA through 22 innings. 14 walks to 25 strikeouts. Price a fastball, a slider, a changeup, and a curveball. 2 innings, 3 hits, and 2 runs. Referencing the outing that Dan just mentioned. 2-1 to Olin. He's 2 for 3 here tonight. That makes him 2 for 7, or 3 for 7 in his last couple leadoff appearances. Last one before tonight was on August 23rd, and obviously a bunch of them for various teams when he was roving around in the taxi squad in the beginning part of this season. Calling back Alec Olin there. So instead of first and second with 2 outs, it's still the runner on first and a full count, which allows Keandre Jones to be put in motion. He does have some decent speed, so that could do you some good if he puts it in play here. He did, but it's going to be sprayed foul.
Just looking at that previous pitch again, it looked like it was ball 4 to me.
Will Johnson, your Zach Hart agency man on deck. 0 for 2 most recently. Did have a walk back in the first inning. He struck out twice. Runner in motion again. Same result, this time straight back.
Okay, Andre's getting his sprints in.
That one at 92. Fastball has reached nearly 95 this year, 94.9 in technicality. Usually rounded up on most radar guns, though. Tipped into the glove for strike 3. Jared Price with a huge strikeout of Alec Olin and a 3-2 pitch here in the 6th inning.
That was a big one.
Time for your race.
Holy Hot Rods, it's race time. Chevy Detroit wheels, start your engines.
Bella Air out of the gate first here, Dan.
Oh, who should I go with? I'm going to go with Bella Air, wire to wire.
Petey Pickup, where is he going?
Okay, well, that was confusing.
He's out of the screen, and now he's going back. Petey Pickup, is he going to come all the way from behind and try to burn him here? He's got a lot of room to catch up.
Moving pretty good.
Oh, there he goes. Petey Pickup sprinting his way to the gold here tonight. My goodness.
Well, he really would have won easy if he didn't go the wrong way at first. I don't know. I think when you go that far out of the track, that should maybe be a disqualification, but that's another topic, I guess.
May have run out of gas as he crosses the finish line literally there. He had to floor his way past the third base bag to pick it back up. And Jared Wright back out for his 7th inning of work. Not in total. I mean, you look at it as basically 7, 6 2/3. Came in for Ryan Andrzejczyk after struggling in the first. He has faced the minimum in the last 3 innings. Allowed a leadoff walk to Cameron Comer. Got a double play turned. Barnes skips under his glove and into short right center field. Bad hop in the end there?
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. To me, that's not the best way to approach that ball.
It's the 3rd time that the bottom 3 in the order have gotten on tonight. Jalen Smith 0 for 2 with a strikeout in the 2nd and a pop out in the 4th. Smith with a 188 average checking into play here tonight for the Beavers. Batting average on balls in play also pretty low at 206. 3 doubles, 2 home runs, walk-off double against this very team. Is that in a scoreless game? It was a tight one, I know that obviously.
Yeah.
In extra innings, wasn't it?
It might have been a 1-0 game. Speaking of races, are you a Kentucky Derby guy?
I'll watch it, yeah.
It's tomorrow.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It got rescheduled. The Triple Crown, 2 of the 3 Triple Crown races got rescheduled.
Phil says, let's go Mammoths, watching from California on YouTube. So hello, Phil. Maybe eating some dinner there around 6 o'clock. In there for strike 3.
Williams, painted black, called third strike.
Ticket to the dugout for Jalen Smith and the 6th strikeout for Jared Wright here tonight. Romero Harris trying to get his 2nd hit. He's 1 for 2 with a single back in the 2nd inning. Popped up to left. Olin records out number 2.
The crowd liked it. That always, you know, working in baseball, one of the things that always amused me is even in larger stadiums, you know, with really big crowds, a lot of fly balls to the outfield really get a reaction. and the crowd doesn't pipe down even when they see the outfielder just camping underneath the ball waiting for it. And then they catch the ball and you hear that, oh, you know, kind of that groan.
TJ Riles, pretty good day at the plate. You like to see his leadoff walk in the 1st. He came around to score. 6th walk of the year. 4th run. Drove in a run back in the 2nd on his double. Curveball outside. Just hasn't been able to command that one tonight. Slider has been there.
And as you mentioned earlier, when he gets on, especially leading off, he's going to steal bags too.
Yeah, his 7th steal of the year. Didn't get a great jump, as you kind of mentioned as well, but when you have speed, sometimes it doesn't matter.
Yep.
And the defense just a tick off here today all the way around, it seems.
It is. A little sloppy on both sides. Only 1 error on the board, but it was really showed much worse than that. Just some balls that were playable that weren't played and some throws that were not very accurate.
Here's the 3-0. Low. He walked him. So there's walk number 2. 1st and 2nd after the leadoff error. Here in the 7th, there is no action in the Woolly Mammoths bullpen. There's also no action in the Beavers pen. So as we kind of speculated, it's going to be a 4-out save try for Jared Price.
Beavers would like to tack on a run here, that's for sure.
Geely looks at a straight fastball below the knees. Freddie was one of the 3 walks to begin the game. They all came around to score. Riles, Geely, and Weimer back in the 1st inning. They added a AAA insurance run. Who knew at that time in the 2nd? And that's why they have a 4-2 lead currently. Off 3 hits and no errors for them on the defensive side. 2 runs off 6 hits and an error for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. They've scored single runs in the 1st and 3rd so far here tonight. Big cut by Geely and a whiff. The Mammoths overall have seemed to have better ABs going forward in the game. They've had a base runner on in every inning but the 2nd, which was a 1-2-3 frame for Garrett Chrisman.
They had a pretty good showing against a really good pitcher.
Pitch number 79 outside for Jared Wright. Seems to be losing a little bit maybe of the command with the fastball as well as the start goes on. Line drive to the gap in right center field. That's going to hang up there and get down in front of Johnson. Padding run coming around to score. Riles taking a wide turn, and he's going to hold up at 3rd base.
That was a nice job just to cut that ball off there by Johnson, because I thought that was a 2 RBI situation all the way. That's a very big hit. Big AAA insurance run there for the Beavers.
Call that a double?
Yeah, I think so.
4th double of the year for Freddie Geely. Also has a home run to his credit. And Paul Nickenbrugge trying to buy some time.
Looks like John Murphy down there.
Yeah, John Murphy again. We saw him earlier. That was a couple innings back. Jared Wright emphatic about something right there. He's a little frustrated.
I think he'd like to finish it. I think they'd like for him to finish it too. We really don't want to. Oh, look at he's coming up. All right.
We'll play again on Sunday. Will this Westside Woolly Mammoth team, and Jared Wright probably flustered that he gave up the run here in the 7th. It is unearned because of the leadoff error. And John Murphy, who's going to be a key to this bullpen going forward, will trot his way in here in the 7th. Your Hoffman Dental pitching change. He'll face a dangerous Joey Weimer with 2 runners in scoring position when we get back.
Your neighbors are going to be jealous when they see you're getting a new Connecticut water system. Say goodbye to hard water problems. No more spots on your glassware. Your laundry will feel and smell better. Your hair and skin will look and feel better. Say goodbye to hard water problems and say hello to great tasting crystal clear water with CGC Water.
The Weingarts family is honored to be celebrating 75 years of helping families like yours with your lawn equipment needs. While the equipment has changed, our grandfather's founding values and commitment to quality still drive our business.
We carry top brands like Exmark, Toro, Honda, Cub Cadet, and more. See the full lineup at Weingarts.com. Whether it's new equipment, parts, or service, we work to earn your trust in each of our 6 locations.
From our family to yours, thank you for letting us serve you.
Weingarts, everything from lawn to snow.
Well, here's a look at our coverage map, if you will. we go anywhere.
Yeah.
You have internet, but that can be...
We're worldwide.
Yeah, you see all the countries right there. Australia, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, England, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Spain, Wales, and today we have added another state. Alabama to the fold. Phoenix City, Alabama, one of the comments from earlier.
Football country. So we'll have that in orange next time we next game. We need to get some out west love. We got to fill in some of that.
Yeah, so all you California people, share it. Maybe there's some people that live around you. Sharing helps.
We got to get Cam Comer to talk to some of his friends in Virginia.
That's true. Tony Wright on Facebook says, good job, Wright. It was a good job by Jared Wright here tonight. He does allow an unearned run in the 7th inning. Had an earned run back in the 2nd because of a single and double combination. And John Murphy, trying to keep this game right where it is, has made it a little bit more difficult for their offense. Have the Mammoths. It's now 5-2. Murphy checking into play today at .276 in the ERA, his 12th appearance. 10 of them, or 11 of them in relief. Faces the ever-dangerous Joey Weimer with runners on 2nd and 3rd. And 2 gone.
He had a couple of rough outings, but overall has very good stuff. He's been a definite plus for this team's bullpen.
18 walks to 27 strikeouts. That's gotten a little bit better recently.
It has. That's his Achilles heel, though, the walks, certainly.
He had 2 walks and 6 strikeouts in his last appearance against the Beavers on the 27th of August, so it's been a while. I remember that one now. 43 pitches. His longest outing in relief, actually his 2nd longest. Had a 4-walk outing early on in the season. Real good stop by Cullum there. On the fastball in the dirt at 90. It's not easy to stop. For John Murphy, a 4-seamer, a slider, and a changeup. Changeup just 2.5% of the time, so not too often at all. 2-pitch pitcher, not a oddity for a reliever. His fastball thrown 84% of the time. That one low and outside as well. 3-1, and in danger of walking. The bases loaded with Cameron Comer coming up. Heart of the order tonight hasn't done a whole lot. Troyer had a double back in the first, but you still don't want to give him that opportunity again here in the 7th to pad the lead even further. They'll be given just that here. Second walk of the inning. Sixth in total surrendered by Mammoths pitching here tonight, which has featured a 3-man arsenal. Comer a walk to lead off the 6th inning. It was erased off a double play in the end. Does have a home run this year. Driven in 14 runs. 4 doubles to his credit as well. Here's the 1-0. Fastball low and in for strike 1 on Comer. Still night here at the ballpark. Wind not really a huge factor here tonight as it was the last couple days.
Even those pennants and left are laying still today.
Cricket's not making an appearance here tonight.
No, it doesn't seem like it. It's very off-putting this morning. I went to a batting cage and I could hear crickets in the morning. I don't like crickets in the morning. If I'm going to hear them, it's got to be at night.
Swing and a miss by Comer.
They just feel creepy during the day.
I got 1 million of them around my house now.
Do you?
Even during the day sometimes. There's one guy in the backyard that you'd think he's inside. Oh, how loud he is. Bases juice, 2 outs. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. John Murphy keeps things right where they are after he walked Weimer to load the bases to the cleanup batter in Cameron Comer. 7th inning stretch sponsored by Genesis Credit Union. Here's Dan York. All right, some trouble with our public address mic here tonight. So we'll stick with you here on the USPBL network.
But sing to yourself. You know the words.
Hey! Score some runs, say the Mammoths here in the 7th inning. Phil says, USPBL, thank you for sharing your games online. I hope to make it out there someday to watch the Mammoths play and then go to see the Tigers as well. Where's Phil from? Doesn't sound like a local product.
No, it doesn't. Or else I'm sure he would have done that by now. Although you can't see the Tigers this year.
Two, 3, 4 coming up for the Mammoths here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's the right part of the lineup if you want to get something brewing, isn't it?
It sure is. You never know. That insurance run was big, I think. Pushing one more across there for the Beavers in the top half.
Johnson has reached base once today with a walk back in the first and a run scored. Single, double in the first and third. And Landon Barnes, or that was Briggs, I beg your pardon, didn't reference that. And then Landon Barnes with a single in the 5th inning as Jared Price looks to get a 4-out save here tonight.
Yeah, Johnson struck out twice so far. He, you know, we'll see how that wrist comes along. He doesn't look quite right to me, but sometimes when you have a little bit of a nagging injury that you try to play through, it ends up putting you into a slump even when the injury heals, because you do some things to maybe compensate for that injury a little bit. It ends up messing up your mechanics.
Phil chime in with us again here today. He says he's from California. I didn't know that because I read his comment earlier.
Oh, right.
You feeling some late inning magic here by the Mammoths?
I think you'll know after a batter. That's usually where it starts when you have a rally like that. It's usually the first batter. Certainly possible. There's some big bats coming to the plate.
See you tomorrow at 5:20 p.m. here on the USPBL Network. Doubleheader between the Beavers and the Mammoths. Stick around for our Auto Lab post-game show from the United Shore Media Desk. Chelsea Estes will catch up with our Michigan surgery specialist player of the game. So here's the 2020 All-Star, Will Johnson. Participant in the Home Run Derby this year as well. Well, after Jared Price had a 4-game streak of not giving up a run in his relief appearance, he's given up runs in 3 straight, 2, 1, and 2 in order. That one rides outside, 2-1 now on Will Johnson. He's seen at least a 2-ball count every time, walked in a 3-1 back in the first. .92-mile-per-hour fastball, trying to stretch out for that one. Can't quite catch up with it. Didn't look himself on the last strikeout in the 5th inning.
Just doesn't seem to be the same bat speed.
Would love to at least draw a walk here.
Pretty far from the plate. Oh, he does his job there. That's all it takes.
Phil says we have Tigers fans out here in California too.
They're all over.
Yeah, they are. That's kind of cool to go from one city to the next, and you know, whoever you represent, kind of see your hat or jersey or sweater being represented.
Yeah, during my time working for the Tigers, I enjoyed going to the occasional road game, and it was always fun to see how well represented the Tigers were in most of those cities. Even some that were far away, not just the typical ones like Chicago or Cleveland. There's always a lot of Michigan people transplanted elsewhere. Red Wings are like that too. Red Wings road games get a lot of red in the stands.
Briggs beside himself after that swing that he couldn't catch up to the slider. It had really good spin on it, 2,700. You showed me a graphic before the game. Some of the best sliders spin rate wise in Major League Baseball back in 2018, and that's right up to the par.
Right. Yeah, if you can be there with Luis Severino, you're in pretty good shape.
Here's the 1-2 outside. Article here at the beginning of 2020 kind of highlighting some of the pitchers that have some of the best. Verlander on it. Max Scherzer.
Scherzer has been great for most of his career. Verlander's developed a little bit later. At the beginning of his career, he didn't even really throw a slider.
Adam Ottavino, Jacob deGrom. Chaz Rowe of the Rays. The list they had in March of 2020. 3-2 is piped back. Second 3-2 count we've seen to the first two batters here. Not what Von Joshua wanted to see at a Jared Price here, I'm sure. That Josh Smith now warming down the right field line. That one clubbed to the gap in left center field. Weimer gonna cut it off. Good swing regardless by Lamar Briggs.
He's made a couple hard outs. This could very easily be a 4-for-4 day for Briggs.
Instead, 2 for 4 with a pair of RBIs.
And that's a sigh of relief, I should say, for Price, because if that ball gets in the gap, we've got a real adventure on our hands here in the bottom of the 7th.
Still has to navigate through 4 and 5 in the lineup, both of which have a single to their credit here today. Barnes and Ross Haffey, your Zach Hart agency man on deck here in the 7th.
Well, this is a really important at-bat here because you don't want Haffey to come to the dish as the tying run.
Shortened up stroke to get his single back in the 5th inning. Both him and Barnes did their damage there. Troyer feeds to second. Geely over to first base, and that's a game-sealing double play here in the 7th.
It's a nice little turn. Geely with a really nice turn at second, getting rid of that ball quick.
3 points on the board as well for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, so they're right there now with the Utica Unicorns. The Diamond Hoppers still on top of the push to the playoff standings with 6 coming into this game, and Jared Price says a big thank you for Troyer, Geely, and Williams to seal off a 4-out save.
Well, really, this one hit the skids early for the Mammoths. The start for Mandrazik, you know, we'll find out if there was any injury element to that later on. Not sure if there was or not, but the bottom line is he just got off to a bad start with the command, walked 3 guys, and they never fully recovered from that, although Wright did a great job to settle it down.
Chelsea Estes will catch up with our player of the game when we get back.
One thing that makes Detroit Mercy unique and different from other universities is that the faculty truly care about you and they're always there to help. Whether it's asking questions after class or going into the office hours, they're always there to lend a hand and really make you feel at home.
People are here to work together, and whether like you have a question or you're discussing topics within the class, you can go up to your professor and they know your name. They're just willing to help you become a better overall student.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
It's the summer event of the season, and quite possibly the only event of the season. It's the Lincoln Summer Invitation Sales Event, going on now at Crest Lincoln.
Travel further for less and drive the 2020 Lincoln MKZ Hybrid. Lease today for only $323 per month. Or ride in the luxury of the all-new 2020 Lincoln Corsair. Lease today for only $341 per month.
Make a new summer memory today. Visit Crest Lincoln in Sterling Heights or shop today at crestlincoln.com.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities. Where good neighbors do great things. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
They called it the 1,000-year flood. They were having homes and businesses flooded, and roads were being washed out.
My entire house is going to be flooded. Okay, do you have a second story?
A lot of fear that we were going to lose a lot of people.
When we heard the police station was flooded, we immediately gave them our command center to operate out of.
BELFOR was our savior. Sheldon and his team restored 25 of our businesses and more than 1,500 residences.
At BELFOR, we're restoring more than property.
All right, everyone, welcome back. It's time for the end of the game recap brought to you by Auto Lab, and the player of the game tonight is the one and only Garrett Chrisman. Garrett, you had quite a game tonight. You had about 5 innings pitched, 6 hits and 2 runs, but 8 strikeouts at the end of the time. So I was sitting here, I like my seat next to the dugout, get to spy on you guys, and you were talking to the pitching coordinator, Shane, quite a few times. What was he talking to you about? Some adjustments to make during the game? What was he telling you?
Yeah, just kind of stay consistent with my mechanics and keep trusting my pitches. And I was getting squeezed by the umpire a little bit back there, but just keep throwing and everything will work out.
That's right, everything will work out. And tonight, fans at home, I don't know if you stepped outside, it was getting a little chillier here. Summer's kind of slipping away. Is the cold affecting you at all a little bit tonight?
Yeah, a little bit in between innings. Especially when we're scoring like we did today, you're kind of sitting around, so you got to keep the body loose, and it's a little tough when it's cold, but once you get out there, a few pitches loosens you up a little bit.
I know we got everyone from all over the country here, so they're not used to these cold Michigan summer nights. All right, one last time, playoff push. It's coming here the next few weeks. So what's the Beavers team mentality going into these next few games for you guys?
Our pitching staff, we guys got to just keep throwing strikes and keep dominating out there like we've been the whole year. Hitters, we're starting to pick it up again, which is good. It's an important time too, and we just got to start scoring runs. It's an important time, and hopefully we continue our win streak.
I hope so too. You guys had a great game tonight, and more to come, I'm sure. It's going to be a fun, exciting postseason playoff push, and once again, I'm here with the player of the game, Garrett Chrisman, brought to you by Auto Lab. All right, Jeremy and Dan, back to you guys.
Thanks, Chelsea. Good innings down the stretch for Garrett Chrisman. Kind of had a battle through his, not the best control and command that we've seen so far through him this season, but that's what an ace does, right, Dan?
Yeah, I think that's, one of the marks of an ace really is when he can fight his way through a little bit, and when everything doesn't go perfectly and he still gives you a great outing. Like some pretty hard luck losses also this year, so he deserves to get a win when maybe he didn't have quite his best stuff.
In the end, 5 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 of them earned, 4 walks to 8 strikeouts. Justin Revels was originally supposed to go here tonight until we arrived to the ballpark and found out that they had pushed him back to tomorrow. Never got an official reason, but Revels is somebody to look forward to watch, certainly. Probably pitches in Game 2 of the doubleheader, we'd imagine.
I would imagine so, yeah. And they're, I think he gives you a pretty good outing most of the time when he's out there, too. Chrisman's the ace of this team, though, and I think they probably wanted to come out of the gate with him. You're in this playoff push now. If you can get his start in early, that means you might be able to sneak in another start late before this thing is over, and they could need him potentially to move up a seed when it comes down to their last game.
There are the updated standings: 6 for the Hoppers, 3 for the Unicorns, and 3 now for the Beavers, with 7 games left for the Mammoths. All of them are important, but no doubt very important for the Beavers to at least pick up a tie.
And that's games
today.
That's games remaining, of course.
Correct.
So the Unicorns and the Mammoths have a game in hand compared to the other 2 teams. But yeah, this thing can change fast. But Hoppers look good right now.
Doubleheader tomorrow will be on the air at 5:20 p.m. here on YouTube and Facebook. For my broadcast partner, Dan Griesbaum Jr., our sideline reporter here today, Chelsea Estes. Everybody behind the scenes, your fine cameraman, your director, P.J. Gradowski, and your graphics operator here today and producer, Jeremiah Hergon. I'm Jeremy Idle. Have a